What is going on, my peoples? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. Today is October 28th, 2024. I'm GB, Coop and Brian with me as always, talking our sports stuff. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
It's been a good day. It's almost a sweep in baseball.
Yeah, and you got like every major sport today: baseball, hockey, football, basketball, tons of hoop games. So cool time of year. Cool time of year. So we're talking today. We'll check in on the World Series. As Coop said, they nearing in on a sweep potentially. I kind of agree with Brian. I'm sure they'll win one. They ain't gonna go all the way out like that. You got the NC2A. We got football we're talking about, and then of course the league with the NFL with the Monday night game just ended a little while ago between the Steelers and the Giants.
Oh, there was a game on Monday night?
For fans of the Steelers and Giants, yes.
Good. Okay.
I actually watched it, and
I was watching
while
most of
it was not great entertainment, there were some decent takeaways from it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool stuff to watch. I think Russell Wilson's definitely the quarterback, though. It just is what it is. That's the main thing.
The passing game is so much more wide open
different.
with him there. We'll talk about it. But.
Helps when you can throw. So yeah, World Series, man. Give me y'all takes on it right now. It's them Dodgers is out here rolling. My whole Instagram timeline and Facebook and everything. I didn't know how many Dodger fans I knew, but I did live in Southern California a while, so Dodgers is rolling.
Give me your take, Brian. You're in LA.
Oh man, this has been so much fun to watch. I've been watching every minute of all these games, actually throughout the entire playoffs. And I honestly believe we took their heart. We Dodger fans and the Dodgers team took their hearts in game one with that grand slam walk-off. I mean, I just don't think that most teams can recover from such an electric moment. That point in the World Series, it was magnificent. I don't think there was anyone who thought it possible. And Freddie Freeman has been unreal in the World Series. He didn't even play in the last series because of an ankle sprain. He came back. No one was certain he would be very healthy. When he was playing in the earlier in the playoffs, all he was able to do was hit singles because he was injured and for him to announce, as using a Bull Durham reference, announce his presence with authority, and has done it ever since. He's hit a home run in every single game so far in the World Series, which is just unreal.
That's big. Yeah.
But the series has been outstanding. Most people will probably be listening to this by the time the series is over. I'm not saying that they'll win tomorrow, but there's two more games in in New York. It seems like a good odds that when you're up 3-0, where they're not able to kind of get their bats going, that it looks like there's a good chance that they'll get this done in the next 2 days. If not, Friday night, I think it's Friday night at Dodger Stadium is going to be
better.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. It's wild to win at home. That's got to be. LA will go nuts.
Yeah, LA will go nuts whether
either way, right?
That's
but if you're there and you
can
leave,
win in New York.
Yeah, but you could spill out from the stadium into the streets and drive, and sit in the parking lot for 45 minutes.
We ain't got time for that. Ohtani might get hurt. We need to go ahead and get this over with.
No,
Ohtani
is already hurt. So if you watch the game tonight, he did that slide and he got a
right.
He got to pop out his shoulder a little bit.
Right.
He tried to play today, but every time he swung, you saw him grimace.
Yeah.
Nice.
It'll be interesting to see if they try and give him a game off tomorrow. Although knowing him, he will absolutely refuse to not be playing in the game in which they win the World Series.
Right,
but anyway,
exactly.
We'll see what
happens. Of course.
Yeah. 6-3, 4-2, 4-2. It was clear to me after the second game, the Dodgers are just a better team overall. They're just a better team. They're going to win the series. It's just a matter of when. I'm thinking it's going to be a sweep. I don't think the Dodgers are going to wait around and try to win in LA. Not saying teams do that in baseball. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I think LA is going to put this over with tomorrow. Get this over with tomorrow.
You win it as soon as you can in any sport.
Yeah. You got to in any sport. Exactly. The Yankees, man, they just, I don't know. They're not a bad baseball team, but they just don't have enough to beat the Dodgers. They just don't have it. The Dodgers just have pretty much everything you need.
Their bats just got silent at the wrong time. Aaron Judge has been outstanding until he got into the playoffs, and now he can't hit. So.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because there have been pitches for them to hit. They just have not been able to take advantage of
that one.
pitches.
Judge had one today that was just a softball for him, like just floated over the plate and it off the edge of his bat.
Man, and Dodgers, they've been hitting. That's the difference. Yeah, that's just been difference in the game. Timely hitting. I mean, Dodgers are getting those hits. There's only a few pitches you're going to have in these playoffs. You got to be able to take advantage of them. The Dodgers have, and that's the story of this series, and that's why they're winning 3-0. I think, man, both of us had the Dodgers winning this series. I had it purely on hate, but now I see that they're just better. Now I just see that they're they're better. Exactly, that they're just better. I saw after game too. They're just better than the Yankees. So yeah.
That's funny. Word, yeah. I watched the last couple of games. It's been entertaining. It's cool because like so many of my friends and family are Dodgers fans, so it's cool just hearing y'all takes and then seeing what people are posting about it. But I can't act like I've been paying attention.
This series is a dream for Dodger fans. Just the things that are happening.
Yeah.
The moment the team, Ohtani's first year, the math. So there was so much made about the $700 million that they're paying Ohtani. They've literally almost made most of the Major League Baseball and the Dodgers have already locked in deals and all the new sponsors and everything else to have covered the $700 million, and it's year one. So crazy. It's interesting how that math works out. But it's kind of been so far a dream scenario in every way, shape, or form for Dodger fans.
So far, if Magic Johnson get on your ownership group, things are kind of good for you.
Yeah.
Washington.
Well, I mean, it's good to be
the Dodgers now
Dodgers.
too. But Washington too. I mean, I can't say that's all Magic. It's just funny. Washington's rolling.
Yeah. He's just he's the lucky penny. He doesn't contribute to anything else other than he's the lucky penny.
I don't know. Hey, I know he did that, and he's got one of the most classic memes ever with that. I'm not gonna be here when he was talking to Jeannie Buss about leaving the Lakers. So
right.
I don't know. That's cool. But yeah, so you got that. So then college football, man. What's happening?
Well, I think Brian's game was on Friday night, man. USC and Rutgers. Brian, I did you a favor. I placed a bet on USC for what you said. Rutgers was playing at 8 p.m. West Coast time. They come from New Jersey, Piscataway, New Jersey. They're playing at 11 p.m. their time. I did not expect them to be ready to play this game.
It's just cruel and unusual punishment. I was talking to, the game was still going on at 11:30, and it was Carmageddon. I don't know, for all the people who were in Los Angeles space, they called it Carmageddon because there were 3 events going on at SoFi area in Inglewood, and 3 events going on downtown with the Lakers game, USC and Dodgers, all within within a mile or 2 of each other. So all that was going on. But anyways, it's just cruel to have an East Coast team. Yeah. They could have picked a Midwest team to play in that game. It was 11:30 here when that game ended. There was nobody in the stands. Nobody. Every time they scanned out to the Coliseum, it was packed at the beginning, but come 11:30, they're like, I got parties to get to.
Man.
Wait. Yes. And then SC.
So the game was at 8 p.m. on Friday.
42-20.
Yeah, so it was a USC minus 14. I was gladly to make that wager. Glad. I'll take it against Rutgers. I don't know a person that plays for Rutgers, so made it even better. But
Rutgers have been playing all right. But
I know where it is. I got family in Jersey. Shout out to the
Piscataway. Yeah. Can't spell it, but I can pronounce it. Piscataway. There we go.
Dang.
There it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But but besides that game, I know we both had Navy's winning streak coming to an end. Brian, Notre Dame kind of killed them on that game. Was there any other game on here that you had an intro? Oh, Oregon and Illinois. I think you had Oregon.
I had Oregon.
Right. I took Illinois and ended up betting Oregon on that game. Did you watch any of that?
I only watched a moment of it, but not real intently. Quite honestly, I didn't think Illinois had a fighting chance in that game.
It was once it was 35-3 and at halftime. It was clear Oregon just took their foot off the gas. Missouri and Alabama.
And was that my pick? Because that was a 21.5 point spread. And
I think it might have been.
I don't think we took a shot on that. Maybe
I said that they would cover the 21 and a half.
No, I was just saying because you have the B's best bet and then.
Oh yeah. B did say that. Yeah, they would cover.
Yeah, that was my pick. It was 21. It closed at 22.
Yep.
They covered both of them.
Yep. Got to put that in there. I ain't mad at you. Yep. I don't know if you watch any of Missouri, Alabama. I said I was only taking Alabama purely on talent. I just don't think Missouri has much of it. It kind of proved it 34-0. I don't know if you watched the game, Brian, and anything you see in that game. If you did watch.
So I did not watch that game, and that's because by the time I was going to turn it on, it was already all over. I believe that I had more confidence in Missouri, at least to beat the spread. They did not. They did not score. I don't think they sniffed the red zone. It just was a horrible game for them all the way in, but I did not watch much of it.
Yeah, I had to sweat out a game, man. I took Cal and Oregon State over 50, an old Pac-10 game. If you see, Glenn, the score was 44-7. I had to sweat to the fourth quarter late to get that 1 point cover in that game. Cal just completely dominated Oregon State. I think Cal probably wished they still played in the Pac-12, man, after they just whooped on Oregon State. So I don't know if anybody watched it, but I had to sweat that one out.
Man, I was playing golf.
I'm gonna guess that some people started to watch it and then turned it off.
They're right. Yeah. Real talk. It was a blowout. Did you watch Texas? Texas barely scraped by Vanderbilt, man. 27-24.
Is Vandy good on the low? Is that what's happening here? Because they beat Alabama, right? Is Vandy good on the low?
They're better
I think it's
than
a combination of two things. One, they still haven't gotten Ewers right. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he's shading in the right direction because he was actually throwing the ball, but he's still not right. I still think that they have the most talent in the country. When Ewers was starting the season, he was playing well. He's great, and then when they put in Manning, they were even better. I think Manning might be the second best quarterback in college football. I said that a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when he started playing, and he's not going to see another game this year minus injury.
Hey, I mean, keep it real. These boys, as far as Vandy, the games they've lost all have been within 4 points. The games they've won, they pretty much smoked.
They're better than what they usually are.
Yeah,
I mean that's why they're scraping in there. But
they might get to 6 wins. Who knows? But my bet last week was New Mexico, Colorado State under 65. I've been undefeated on these bets for college football. That went way under the total of 65. It was only 17-6, so that game was a snoozer. I didn't watch it, but a game I did watch is the team that I hate the most in college football, which is Florida State. They play Miami. Miami surprisingly covered the 21 points. I would have never bet this game, but they won 36-14, completely dominated Florida State. Florida State is just not any good. If they can't get up to play Miami, I mean, this is one game they're usually up for.
Can I just say, I took Miami. I thought you took Florida State.
No, hell no. I would know.
No, not to win the game.
Beat the spread.
To beat the spread.
I think I did say that.
I think you did, sir. I'm just put that out there.
I said I would never put Miami. Yeah. All right.
Because you said you could throw records out.
Right. I did say that's right.
It was Miami minus 21 and a half there.
Hey, Glenn, you see Brian with that receipt?
Yeah, he gonna remember that. Yeah, he gonna remember that every time.
But that's right, I did say that.
I just remember it being a very large spread, and you said you could throw the records out on that one.
Right.
And I was like, but here's the thing: they only beat them by 22, so the spread
it was right there.
Half point.
It was right there. Yeah. It was right there.
The Lakers game is a lot closer now. Also, that's random, but I just took the Spurs.
I think Phoenix is winning now, right?
Nah, it's 94-93.
Okay, I think
5.5 minutes.
Okay. Penn, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Penn State is overrated. They seem like a team that's gonna make the college football playoff and lose in the first round to whoever they play. That's just my personal opinion about Penn State. Colorado won, boo. Cincinnati had to play late.
Colorado's winning, ain't they? On the left?
They play Cincinnati late. Okay.
Yeah, when they play quality teams and beat them, let me know.
Yeah, so I think they still have a fair record. I don't know if that
yeah, they do. I think they're like 5-3 right now.
Yeah, if their quarterback becomes our quarterback. So
is that what you want?
I don't know what I want, bro.
I want literally the absolute worst thing, because for the wins that they get, he only looks decent when Travis Hunter is playing out of his mind. And he literally has to be playing out of his mind, which he did this past week. Shedeur Sanders is not.
I don't know. I don't know, Coop.
He's as much a pro quarterback as Bronny is a starting point guard.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him.
We could be getting Cam Ward. I don't know what's going to happen, man. I don't know what's going to happen.
This could be a ball situation. Lonzo, LeVar, LaMelo. It could be one of them type situation where daddy screams.
Like I said, Bronny. It feels like a Bronny situation to me. Like he's going to get in the league because his dad's got connects.
But start NFL quarterback. I don't know about that one. No.
Man, it's ugly for us right now. So I don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback. We'll talk about it later.
And the last one, hopefully you're taking a look at if you watch Boise State, because we said, the running back there is special.
Yeah.
UNLV actually was the first team to show some hope of containing him. Yeah. And he still got 130 yards.
Yeah.
But that was his worst output of the season. He is really amazing. UNLV did show some ability. They literally sold out. They said, all we're going to do is make sure that he doesn't go crazy on us.
He had 33 carries. 428 yards.
Oh, yeah, he worked.
Yeah, 33 carries.
Yeah, he worked.
So they were feeding him. And, UNLV did the best they could, and they still lost.
That's pretty solid, though. So, 33 carries is a lot.
That's a lot of carries.
That's an NFL workload.
You know what I'm saying? But the Duke can handle it, though. Other than that, I don't have anything else for this week. I guess we can probably move on to next week.
What y'all got?
Looks like the big game for next week, man, is – well, let's just talk about Boise State playing San Diego State. You got anything San Diego will provide any resistance, Brian?
No.
The game is Friday.
No.
Okay. Me neither.
Damn, it's in San Diego?
Thinking about going there.
No.
So I'd like to be able to root for them. I watched their last game, Washington State. Derek was actually at the game. So all types of things. But Boise State is not the best team in the country.
Right.
And they're going to be a tweener. But they're playing competition that's just not built to take on GT.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's just too much for them. Now, will they beat the spread? This is when you get into the interesting part, right? The spread is 23.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that San Diego can keep it within 24 points.
Me too.
And it will still be a blowout, and it will still be a Boise win, and it could still be a San Diego State cover.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make a small wager on San Diego State plus the points on that game. I would do the same thing.
A lot of points in the Mountain West Conference.
Right. Duke plays Miami. Duke is not ranked. Miami is. Doesn't mean anything because the coach of Duke used to be the defense coordinator and the head coach at one time at Miami. Miami is favored by 20.5. I would never bet Miami minus 20.5 against Duke. I think this is probably a 6 to 10 point game. I think Miami wins. But I think Duke makes this very interesting, very, very interesting. What about you?
I'm 100% with you on this one. So last week I was like, Florida State's no. Right. I think Duke can stay inside of 20.
Yep. Well, since it's Minnesota. I know you're from Minnesota, Brian. We can talk about Illinois. Illinois ranked number 24. They play Minnesota. Illinois 6-2. Minnesota's 5-3. But Minnesota is favored at Illinois -3.
Illinois.
Who do you like?
I like Minnesota.
Me too.
There's a reason for this. Minnesota plays, I watched the USC game kind of with mixed emotions, but the thing that I saw about them, they play tough, they play hard, they control the tempo to make you play their game, which ultimately gives them a puncher's chance against anybody. I think Vegas has kind of figured it out because they're paying a lot of attention to the Big Ten. Remember, they only lost to Michigan by a field goal. And then they beat USC the following week. Then they beat UCLA the following week. Then they whooped on Maryland the following week. I think this is an underrated team. I would say that they're better than Vanderbilt too, who's ranked 25 right now, right? So, and Minnesota's not ranked at all. So I will have confidence that they can beat a 24 ranked Illinois. In what will actually be a very interesting game, I think.
Yeah, I think Vegas is caught up to Minnesota. Minnesota is actually a decent team. I think they're better than Illinois, and they should be favored. Illinois, I don't think is a good team. I mean, they're not bad. I just don't think they're deserving of their ranking. I don't know how they beat Michigan. They beat Michigan. I really don't know how.
And they beat them well too, 21-7. Right.
Right. I don't know how that happened.
Styles make fights.
Yeah, I'm taking Minnesota in this one, and I wanted to bring it up because it was Minnesota playing. The game after that I see is I guess the biggest game on the board is Ohio State.
It certainly is.
At Penn State. Ohio State's favored by 3.5 at Penn State. Who do you have?
Ohio State. I think Ohio State, and we've talked about this. I said at the beginning of the year, I thought they might be the best team in the country. Yep. I'm not a particularly big Ohio State fan, but they're just really good. Yeah. And so I just think they're the better one. The only team that they've lost to is Oregon, and they only lost by 1 point. I don't think that this is even going to be a particularly close game. Like, they're only favoring them by 3.5. I think it's a full touchdown game. The Sixers, so I would take Ohio State, give up the 3.5, and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I foreshadow how I think Penn State is just overrated. I think I got Ohio State in this one, covering the spread and winning. Of course, I hate Ohio State. If anybody knows, watch that Miami-Ohio State game, a pass interference call was called against Miami that wasn't pass interference when the game was over. Pretty much handed the national championship to Ohio State. Replay showed it was no pass interference whatsoever. It may allow Raider fans feel like they were the Raiders, like Miami. A lot of Raider fans, a lot of Miami Hurricane fans are Raider fans. Glenn, you probably don't know that.
No,
they always feel cheated and shit like that. But anyway, so yeah, but
sounds like you did too.
Like, what was a Raider fan?
No, sounds like you felt cheated too.
Oh, I was cheated. Yes, definitely feel like the Tuck rule. I get it. But yeah, I got Ohio State winning this game. Besides, I don't think the Tuck rule's ever been called ever since that game, Glenn.
No, they changed the rule.
Oh,
next year.
They changed it. Conveniently.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Any thoughts on any other games, Brian, you see on the schedule?
No.
Me either.
I think we're good.
You don't want to talk about USC Washington? 2 4-4 teams going at it? Nothing?
No, because I don't have any ability to predict what USC is going to do, and I don't think USC could predict what USC is going to do. I think they're just, you throw the dice down to the coach and let him roll and see if he comes up, hitting the point. But no, the only thing that I will definitely watch the game, but I will not participate in trying to figure it out. The only other one was Georgia, Florida, I guess. Georgia's favored by 17.5 against the 4-3 Florida, who has beat nobody and lost
they beat trucking school,
Bible colleges. 6, and Miami by a lot. So, so I think Georgia's going to enjoy that game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like that's it for college.
Let's slide to the league, man. Thursday night, Brian was there.
Oh man,
the NFL.
The face mask that wasn't called. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, so here's the thing. You gotta remember, I was there and I had good seats. And the thing about good seats and while in the stadium is you can't see the details of what's going on. So when that play actually happened, all I said is, "Oh, you've got to be flipping kidding me. We're gonna give up a sack in the end zone. All right, let's get the hell up out of here." And there was only 30 seconds left. The game was obviously over. We actually watched the onside free kick occur before we left. But anyways, here's the thing about that game. I knew it was a trap game. I even texted you all before the thing. The minute Puka and Cup come back for that game on that night, I knew we were in trouble. And those two dudes are exceptionally good under normal average circumstances. When you put a challenge out there for them, both of them stepped up. They were impressive. A whole bunch of things went wrong. So let me talk about this. The defense that Brian Flores has been playing for the entire season went right out the window. They started, their pressure rate was at a season low. It was at a league low for the week, and for most weeks, it was absolutely abysmal. They stopped blitzing. The reason they stopped blitzing is because the Rams were 4 wide receivers deep. They were trying to figure it out. And then they were playing zones. You cannot play a zone coverage every single play when you've got Puka Nacua and Cup. There's no way that those two dudes are not smart enough to figure out how to find the gaps in the zones. And they did it consistently. And everything was they'd go get 8 yards. They'd run either inside or outside, depending on where the zone was shading. They'd get the catch and they'd go and someone would go and tackle them. It was reactive the entire way. Usually that bend but don't break Minnesota philosophy works. But when they got to the end zone, there was so much talent on that team that they couldn't figure out what to do with it. It was really frustrating to watch because it is not the defense that Brian Flores has been playing at any point in time during the season that has made that team good. They took no chances. They did absolutely no blitzing. They didn't trust their corners to play man at all, and they were exposed. I don't know whether to call that a matchup because it was a short week. They didn't get to know if Puka and Cup were going to play until the day before it became kind of obvious. Morning of it was announced. But there was a lot of reasons why that was going to go bad. I don't think that this shows that the Vikings are a bad team. Again, they had an opportunity to go down and win the game that was taken from them by a missed call. But it does show that they are beholden to a scheme. And when that scheme doesn't work, they can get exposed on defense. So there's that. And then on offense, we are so Justin Jefferson dependent right now that it's difficult to watch sometimes. Aaron Jones is effective and he gives space, but if it's not Justin Jefferson on the receiving end of a pass, Naylor and Addison are good for 2 catches a game, maybe. They're big catches, they're important catches, but the lion's share of what they're doing has to be big plays from Justin Jefferson. You can't count on that every week. And the dude had 8 receptions for 115 yards, and it just wasn't enough. The number 2 receiver on the team is Aaron Jones.
Yeah, he had like 2 catches, right, or something.
I think he had 2 catches this week, but I'm just talking about season long. He's the number 2 receiver on the team.
Yeah. Like you, Brian, I didn't even know it was a face mask until they did the replay. Watching it real time, I just thought he kind of got turned by a shoulder pad, and that was it. Watching the game, though, it was almost as if, to me, that Sean McVay was just a step ahead of Brian Flores in this game. It seems like he was able to counter everything that he was doing or wanted to do. Stafford was just unloading the ball to different receivers here and there, and he was finding open guys like every single time. Like McVay was finding holes in the defense. Stafford threw, I think 3 or 4 touchdowns that game. But what I noticed is how he was spreading the ball around to so many people. So many guys were getting open. I just think McVay was just a step ahead. Now, I do think that Minnesota was at a disadvantage this game, so I really wouldn't count anything against Minnesota. This game, you almost kind of have to throw out. I mean, you just had
5 days.
Yeah. You just got to throw out the game. You just played Detroit, and you're on a short week. You're traveling to LA. The Rams, they really need a victory. Especially, I think they played the Raiders the previous week. I think they barely won, even though they had 3 turnovers. 3 extra turnovers. They barely won that game. They want to show something in front of home fans. The NFC West is definitely winnable for anybody. I mean, the Niners are in first, but it's definitely winnable for anybody. It's up in the air. So, I mean, the Rams were going to, kind of show what they had to do, and Minnesota's on a short week. So I would really but I do agree. Though I wouldn't take much for the game, I would throw it out for if I was Minnesota. I do agree it's very Justin Jefferson dependent. It's like every time Minnesota threw the ball, I want to see if Justin Jefferson is going to catch the ball, because it seemed like he was the only guy that can make plays on the team. At least in this game. I'm not, I don't know about the season, but at least this game.
Yeah, they depend on Naylor and those guys to make one play. The other thing is that historically, when the opposing coach is your mentor and you're going back into that, it takes a while. So you get that game, obviously in prime time being in a short week, that's a real tough game for them to come and do. And a little bit of it felt like sometimes with the offense that he was trying to throw his old playbook back out. Like we watched The Waterboy. He wanted to try and find new plays so that he was like, they won't know this one. It's like, sure. He knows it because if you take all the rest of your plays out, you're going to run base routes, base plays. But anyways,
I wouldn't take too much, but just throw it
hopefully, I'm hoping for we'll talk about it in a moment, but I'm hoping for a get-right game this week because we've got a very optimal 3 weeks coming up.
Yep. GB, you want to talk about? You guys covered the spread, GB. I appreciate that. Thank you. That 10 points.
We just need some offensive play. That was it. We had multiple chances. The Chiefs are still who we think they are. They're not unbeatable by any means. I mean, I know they're 7-0, or 8-0, whatever it is now. But you're seeing that this is just, to me, one of those teams that's good. I'm not saying that Mahomes is the is a star. We've all known that. They're a team that's won big games, knows how to win games, and they know what to do, right? When they need a score, they get a score. When they need a touchdown, they get a touchdown. When they need to stop, they get a stop. That's what good teams do. So, but it doesn't, nothing I was seeing there was just like, oh my gosh, we shouldn't be on the field with those guys. They win the game. You know what I mean? Our offense is just, it's abysmal right now. So they got to figure out what they're going to do. Like, it's just some of those play calls and what we had going. And then the offensive line couldn't block. Minshew, I've never seen him look like this. Like, he always looked like he kind of had some swag and some confidence. He just looks defeated.
Well, he didn't play too bad.
You say that in a week that he had such an outstanding.
Yeah, he played pretty good. Yeah.
Statistically, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 117 rating.
Right.
But I agree with you. He just it just looked like at times like he didn't feel like he could win.
Yeah.
He was trying to play well, but he didn't feel like he thought they could win that game.
But Glenn, you couldn't run the ball either, though. I mean, Madison had 14 rushes for 15 yards.
They haven't been able to all season.
You couldn't run the ball.
Even the plays, we get an interception. We're on the 5-yard line. We get 2 yards.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, man. They just ran the ball, which is like, okay, some of this is offensive coordinator, but Minshew didn't throw any picks, and he was the highest rated Raider player for the day. Everybody's ratings are pretty low, but he had a key fumble trying to squeeze through that still ended up being a turnover when the game was still within reach. So, but it is what it is. Like, no one player at any point is it's all to blame. My biggest thing is I hope that we're going to need a quarterback, right? It's almost unfair to really evaluate a coach without a QB. You're going to need a quarterback.
I don't think so. But go ahead.
I mean, I don't think you can tell who, every basically like this. You say a lot of coaches are bad, and I can't think of too many of them that had a star quarterback.
I wouldn't say not all are bad. There's some coaches who just need a quarterback and they can actually coach. But I kind of get what you're saying. But
I think in the league you need it. Yeah, I think in the league you need a QB. You know what I mean?
I just don't think Pierce is a head coach. That's just my personal opinion. That's all. Who's your offense coordinator? What's his name? What's his name?
Luke Getsy.
Luke Getsy
with the Bears. Yeah,
he was with the Bears. Okay.
It's hard to evaluate Pierce with the talent drain that they're currently dealing with.
100%. Yeah. Major injuries, quarterbacks, yeah. But
so
we were talking about on text messages about the difference about Pacheco versus Hunt.
Oh yeah,
and we said we should talk about that here.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, I'll give you my thought real quick. Yeah. So I don't think Hunt is bad by any stretch of the means. Hunt was at one point in time he was a really good running back. I don't think he's an every down back like Pacheco. And personally, I think they're two different types of backs. I think Kareem Hunt does things Pacheco can't do, and vice versa. Having them both on the team, I mean, it's a great thing for a coach. But when Pacheco comes back, I would still give him a lion's share of the carries. I would give him more carries, but I would also get Kareem Hunt involved. I would not keep Kareem Hunt on the sideline. That's just stupid. I would definitely get him involved, mainly probably in the passing game. He can run a little bit, but in the passing game, whatever. Because Pacheco gets really tough yards, man. He really proved himself last year doing that Super Bowl run. That dude can play, and he does exactly what that offense needs. He moves the chains, and I think he does that as well as anybody in the league. So when he comes back, definitely work him back in. But Kareem Hunt, I would not phase him out at all. Not at all. What about you, B?
I think exactly what you said. I would just flip the names for Kareem Hunt and Pacheco. I mean, the reason why we're talking about it is that they're playing pretty close. From a yards per game perspective, Kareem Hunt's at 77, Pacheco's at 67. Hunt's at 3.7 yards per carry, Pacheco's at 4 yards per carry. So they were, running the ball a little bit more. The thing that I like about Hunt, though, is that he is someone who could run between the tackles. And they were trying to do that. It wasn't actually working out that well against the Raiders, but typically
our defense is not terrible.
Yeah, it works pretty well, and he can run. Pacheco really has a hard time he likes to pop outside. He likes to get out. He's great at catching out of the backfield. So there's definitely a thing there. I think that Mahomes works better when he has a true running back that's kind of I can hand it into the middle because it allows him to run to the outside on play action, as opposed to Pacheco, where it's harder for him to do. It's harder for people to believe that Pacheco is going to do the play action up the middle and then he's going to run to the outside. Where with Hunt, if the sales pitch works a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Pacheco absolutely needs to get involved in a whole bunch of ways, but I think they got lucky and stumbled into an out of the league, Kareem Hunt, who still has some pop in him. He's played pretty darn well. I know as a fantasy football owner, where I picked him up in a few leagues, I have reaped a lot of rewards. because he's not only been very relevant in the in the running game, but he's also been reasonably relevant. He's got some plays on the receiving side of it too. But anyways, I think it's a 51-49 split, or when one way or the other, or 52-48. But I just think it's an interesting problem for the best team in the league to have.
Yeah, Andy Reid is going to play his players, though. He's not. The Niners is your coach will be the one who only play one guy. Andy Reid's going.
Andy Reid's not like that. Andy Reid is a better coach than Shanahan. That's not even discussion. Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is just interesting about Kansas City is their defense is extremely good.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody has huge weeks against them.
Right.
They stop the rush. Nobody's scoring a whole lot of points, right? The most points scored against them is 25 points in the 1 point win against Cincinnati, but everything else is 20-17, 13-10. Excuse me. You all are with the third, tied for the second most amount of points scored to them all season. When you think about that, it's telling that you all had a good game against the vaunted Kansas City Chiefs defense. And go ahead.
Well, no, I think when the Raiders play the Chiefs in at home, I don't really think that's more than a 10-point game. I think the Raiders always play them tough.
No, I agree with that.
At home, no matter what.
The Chiefs defense. Yeah, the Chiefs defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
When you get 20 points is the max you can get out of them, and they've stopped every single good run. Derrick Henry had a sub 50-yard game against them. Like everyone that they played.
Yeah, that was first game of the season, all right.
Well, yeah, but people don't understand that's why the Chiefs are contenders. It's because of that defense.
All the running backs have.
All the Chiefs have to do is keep the game close and give Mahomes a shot at the end. That's all they have to do. It's just like New England. They're building their team like New England.
That's why you need a great defense. And I think people forget about their defense because of how good Mahomes is.
Yeah.
But that defense is really good this season.
It was like Tom Brady all those years. He had really good defenses, man, and he was able to hang around in the games and make something happen, man. And that's how they're being built. That's how you prolong Mahomes' career and Andy Reid's career and
it's gonna be
winning championships.
A fun game to watch against Tampa, not because I think Tampa can beat them, but because Tampa's offense is dynamic.
Yeah.
If they hold that offense to 20 points by example, that's very, very impressive.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you guys watched the Sunday night game, man, but let me tell you something. I think every Dallas Cowboy fan feels like the 49er fans when we play the Chiefs. Like, here we go with this BS again. I really think they feel like that because it doesn't really matter who's playing on the 49ers. It just seems like Dak always finds a way to give us a pick or two, and they just don't look crisp on offense. And the 49ers just find a way to beat them. The first half, I didn't like. It was kind of, I guess, bland, kind of boring, no creativity in the pass game. As far
55
as Shanahan
points, it was boring.
Yeah, I mean, Shanahan in the first half, it was bad. I think it was like 10-6. It was bad. Finally, in the third quarter, he came out and did some things differently, in the passing game, thankfully. I read a stat before the game that Jordan Mason has ran into the most stacked boxes in the league. I guess it was like 38% of his runs, he runs into stacked boxes, which is extremely insane. And why running backs get hurt, you might want to try to pass the ball when you see that happen. But beating the Cowboys, I mean, look, I said whoever loses this game, the media was going to talk about, season it could be coming to an end for whoever loses the game, and whoever wins the game, they're going to say, well, they'd be optimistic. They might have a chance to, get some wins, string some wins along, whatever. And I was reading articles. I didn't read them, but I saw the caption. It was said the exact same thing.
That's the realest talk ever, bro.
I mean, it's a week-to-week league, and everybody likes to overreact. I mean, it's only been 9 weeks in the season or whatever, or 8 weeks. The 49ers are 4-4. They definitely need a bye week. Thankfully, need a bye week.
Everybody's terrible too. That's the bad part. Everybody's average.
The division, the NFC West, is a very winnable division for every team in that division, including the Rams.
Yeah.
So
every team in football, you could put the Panthers in there, and they probably find a way to be in contention.
Seriously,
Niners are sitting in first, but I mean, something is kind of weird with that team right now. The 49ers just doesn't look right. I know the defense isn't elite.
They got a million injuries. Mason's now down.
This is before that, though. Before they still weren't looking right. So I'm hoping they fix something during the bye week. Thankfully, we needed a bye week a couple weeks ago. But beat the Cowboys. We move on to the next game.
Hey, you want to hear me say something nice about the 49ers?
Go ahead.
They have the best GM and front office on the planet ever. Every time there's a freaking injury, there's another wonderkin popping up. Pearsall looked good. Now Garendo,
Pearsall did look good.
Mason. Yeah. Like the depth,
Garendo
not a
looked good
fan,
too.
But he's damn good. Yeah. And he comes in after, another after another.
So our GM left.
Brian,
our GM left, went to Washington. Adam Peters.
I understand that, but these are still his players. His draft and his cap management. Which allowed you all to fit all these pieces in there. And guess what's going on over on the Washington side of things right now? But look, seriously, that front office gets all the credit because there's not a lot of teams that could withstand the not having McCaffrey, having Mason blow up, now not having Mason, having Garendo blow up, Debo, sick and hurt injury, Ayuk getting hurt. Okay, pop in the guy who got shot.
Right. I root for guys who got shot too. I root for Brian Robinson. I root for Ricky Pearson because I think it's just so damn hard to get shot and come back a month later and play football.
Weeks later.
I've never been shot before, but I've been shot at.
I'm gonna try not to find out exactly what that experience is.
I've been shot at, but not shot. But I root for guys like that. And Pearsall came and made some really big catches. He can get open. I'm hoping he's able to do it for the rest of the season. But
he's so fast. There was one play that got called back. And I turned to Austin, who I was watching the game with, and said, "That dude's quick."
Yeah,
it was a little handoff, and he just went.
He can get open.
He went around the corner.
He can definitely get open. I kind of see why CJ Stroud really wanted him when he was on that podcast. He really wanted Pearsall. I can kind of see why, but it's only one game. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, what about? We're looking at. There's a lot of games that are good ones, but I kind of want to what about the?
Did y'all see Baltimore Cleveland? Because that was a good game. I
was going to ask you about that. Yeah,
yes,
I watched 29.
I watched that game. Go ahead, Brian. Give me your take on that game.
Quarterback changes are a trip in the league, man. You put in somebody, your team is energized.
I'm going to talk about that too, but go ahead, B. What's your thought?
So I actually watched, this is the game that I had on the TV that I was paying most attention to, right? And you know how that goes for me. And it was two teams that were just throwing haymakers at each other. It was great to see. Jameis Winston, what we know about Jameis Winston is he can throw a ball really well.
Yeah.
When he comes in on any team he's come in, he was on the team for a split second in Minnesota, I think. But the thing about, or they considered him, the thing about him is he's going to throw for 300 some odd yards and 2 touchdowns at least. 3 is a high game. What you don't know is if it's going to be the week that he throws for 3 or 4 interceptions or no interceptions or 2 interceptions. That's always the wild card. This was the week where he threw for 334 and 3 touchdowns. It's good to see Nick Chubb running the ball, but he's still not 100%. This was, a Winston-powered offense. The names of the guys who are catching the passes from him are Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, who
from the U. Go ahead.
From the U has not done much since he got out of the U. He was sort of like a pit.
And he got paid. So go ahead.
Yeah. A Kyle Pitt who kind of everyone thought was going to be, next level. Did it. But anyways,
Pitt had 2 TDs this week.
Who I think played in Indianapolis. Yeah, it's just interesting that this team, which outside of Nick Chubb does not have a real name to be celebrated on either side of the ball right now, was able to find a game against a team that I think is really good in the Baltimore Ravens. I also think that that Baltimore made the mistake of letting the Cleveland team dictate what was going on in that game. When they saw that they were throwing the ball a whole lot, instead of taking the same strategy they've had with 20 to 24, 25 passes, they went up to 38 passes. Derrick Henry only got 11 carries as opposed to 20 plus carries. And I think that that's ultimately what cost them the game is that they played Cleveland's game instead of making Cleveland play their game. They're supposed to be the favorite. They're supposed to be the contender. They're supposed to dictate the pace and how the game is going to be played. They didn't, and they lost.
Yeah, Brian, you were right about actually Njoku the first 5 years. He kind of was a little bust, but he's come on the last couple though. His stats have been pretty good. But so Glenn, you alluded to when the quarterback makes a change. I mean, when the team makes a change at quarterback. So I had thought this was my biggest bet of the NFL weekend. I took the over 45 and I was sweating because it was only 10-6 at halftime, I believe. But the reason why I took the over is because I knew Baltimore would be good for about 24 points. And I figured with the quarterback change, Jameis Winston, like you said, Brian, sometimes he chucks it to the other team. Sometimes he chucks it to his own team, but he chucks the ball.
Either way, someone's scoring.
Right. Yep. Somebody's going to score and points will be scored. That's why I took the over. Jameis Winston played well this game. I was surprised that Baltimore, I guess, didn't. It seemed like at halftime, Baltimore just thought they were going to automatically win. And I thought they were probably going to stick.
They were dropping picks too.
I thought they were going to put their foot on their throat. They dropped 4, balls that could have been picks. As Jameis was throwing them up. But I got to give Cleveland a lot of credit because they played with a lot of energy this game. They don't like Deshaun Watson. They know he's not any good, and everybody knows he's only playing because of his contract.
How you gonna say that?
Man,
they know it. They don't like
him. I've seen the body language. I've seen body language. Funny. I've seen times when linemen didn't pick him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, sit your ass on the ground. So I've seen it. And they know he's only playing for money. A lot of times people think that the best 11 players on the team are playing. That's not necessarily true. A lot of times it's contract. A lot of times it's coach favoritism. With Deshaun, it was definitely contract. So Jameis Winston, of course, is the better quarterback, and the offense showed some life. Ken Dorsey, who was the last good Miami quarterback we had when we won the national championship, he's actually the offense coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. So he was calling up some good plays, especially on third down to keep the chains moving. And Jameis made good plays, man. So, congratulations to Cleveland. I didn't expect them to win, but they did win the game.
I'll tell you one element that Jameis failed at.
What's that?
Speaking.
Oh,
Every time
man.
that dude gets interviewed, he says some things that are just baffling.
Yeah. It's on purpose.
About the white guy up the road and
it's like, why do you put a microphone in front of his face?
Lakers lost also. Lakers lost.
Yeah, they lost by 4. Yeah. They covered the spread though. It was 4.5.
Yeah. I think I thought. I mean, those division games, man. That's the kind of the beauty of playing in division, right? Like you just really never know.
Well, I think if Deshaun Watson would have played, it would have been a blowout for Baltimore. That team didn't score many points.
Yeah, they look bad. What about I mean, there's a bunch of games, but what about the Eagles and the Bengals? Because that was kind of a important game for the Eagles for sure. I thought the Bengals might do a little bit more.
I thought they would too.
Yeah,
you never know what Bengals team you're going to get, and once you figure that out, you can kind of go from there. One thing I would never do this season, and I'll make picks. I wouldn't I don't really bet too much, but I would not touch the Bengals in any situation. I don't care if they're playing the Panthers.
Yeah.
With the fourth.
Well, they barely covered that game.
Yeah, they played them last week. Yeah.
They barely covered. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's just no chance whatsoever. And then the Eagles, they needed a get right game against a team that people will think is better than they are, which is a good way to describe the Bengals. And they took advantage of it, and it looked good to see Saquon get 100 and Jalen Hurts get a touchdown and throw it in the air and have a good QB rating and only have to throw it 20 times, but he looked good when he did it. So this was exactly the game the doctor ordered for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, on game day, this spread was going down. Went down from 3 to 2.5 to 2 to about 1.5 to 2 this game. Philadelphia is a better team right now. Cincinnati's defense is just not good. It used to be pretty good the past couple of years. It's just not good right now. And the Eagles took full advantage of it. And, good win for them. You said they need to get right game. That was it. One game, though, I got to give a shout out to a quarterback. This guy, man, he's probably not saying he's the best quarterback in the league. He's not putting 400 or 500 yards a game passing, but his ball placement, the throws he makes on the run, in the pocket, wherever, he's killing it, man. That's C.J. Stroud, man. I've been watching him the last couple of weeks, man. C.J. Stroud just throws dimes, man. They're not highlights. People don't see him unless you watch the game. Too. Yes, man. That dude is throwing. His ball placement is really, really good. And that's what makes successful quarterbacks in this league for 8, 10, 12, 15 years. The stuff that he's doing, man. Not these, fly-by-night, one-season wonders. You know what I'm saying? He ain't that guy. He's not that guy. So I got to give a shout out to him. There's a team we got to stick a fork in right now. I'm sorry, it's the Tennessee Titans. You got to stick a fork in that team, man. That team is horrible. I don't give a damn. Mason Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Will Levis. I don't give a damn who's quarterbacking that team. That team has no life. And I know Detroit's good, but Detroit is just pounding teams right now, man. They just don't give a damn.
Bro.
They don't give a damn, man. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but Detroit is just not playing around. They're just not.
I watch all the Detroit games. Okay. And when I asked you, who you thought at the midseason was the favorite to win the Super Bowl, it's, in my opinion, it's the Detroit.
Yeah. That'd be huge.
Both sides of the ball. They absolutely. There's no fight. They know what they're doing. They go for the jugular every game.
Yeah. I mean, they're up by like 21, and they're still trying to score touchdowns. They're not running the clock out. I mean, they're still scoring.
Get them reps, bro. I think that's so smart. Get them reps for your team. Quality reps for your team. I think that's so smart.
They are just killing people right now, man. You don't want to get to a situation though where you peak too early because there's still a lot of weeks left in the season, but they're drilling teams right now.
I think their only issue is, you just need your guys to be healthy, bro. I hate saying healthy. Right. It's just, you just need guys to not be injured.
Yeah,
I wish they'd let up a little bit, but
they let up. They let up for 20 years.
They're impressive to watch.
They let up for 20 years, so they're rolling now.
It's a class, and then with Tennessee, the reason why I said that is because they're a classic team. People always say, "Hey, give a quarterback weapons, blah blah blah." Wide receivers does not make the quarterback. It's the other way around. Tennessee has
what weapons did they give?
And they got Ridley. They got Tony Pollard. They got another receiver on the team, man. They got
Ridley's, believe it or not.
Riddle me this. When's the last time Ridley was a player?
Spears, that running back, man, he's good for 70 catches, man. You got to be able to get these guys the ball. I don't want to hear about weapons, please. You got enough to win that division. But yeah, they're done.
Okay. Any other game? We got to talk about a subpar game, mainly so I can talk about a subpar team.
Who?
So, did anyone watch the Jets and the Patriots and watch? Aaron Rodgers?
Let's talk.
Absolutely. Leave the bed with a pile in it. At what point, I'm picking on Aaron. The reason I did this is I'm picking on Aaron Rodgers. I feel like the Jets are just suffering from karma that Rodgers has accumulated. He has not been good for a long time. He continues to prove it. But looking at Devontae Adams on the field, wait a minute, I traded what for what? Like it is. Right. Nobody seems to like Aaron Rodgers. He sits on the sideline by himself. I know everyone was talking about how his teammates loved him. That was before the season. He had the advantage of not playing last season, so everyone could just he's quirky, he's funny, he's blah, 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 he's this. Now he's throwing people under the bus left, right, and center. Then they bring in his boy, and his boy doesn't even sit next to him on the sidelines because he's trying to figure out, this is not the same guy that I played with in Green Bay. The Jets are toast. You could stick a fork in them since Jason brought that up. But more importantly, you can stick a fork in Aaron Rodgers. He is no longer relevant as a quarterback. I would take Joe Flacco as a backup quarterback and someone to come in the middle of my season before I would take care of
yeah.
Joe Flacco probably should be starting for Indianapolis right now. But I agree with what you said about Aaron Rodgers, man. He lost to Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett was 15 for 24 for 132 yards. It ain't like he played great. And they still lost that damn game.
At one point in time, he was at halftime. I think he was like 3 for 16. He would throw it to the second half.
Yeah. So Glenn, I think I text you guys when we was talking about the Indianapolis Houston game, man. At one point, Anthony Richardson was 2 for 12 passing the ball. He had that one long touchdown pass to Josh Downs, but he was 2 for 12. And I'm like, man, when the hell is he doing? Why they keep passing the damn ball? But they almost came back and won that game, though, Brian. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, they lost by 3, but I mean, you're also playing a 2-6 Patriots team that's trying to figure their lives out too.
All right, come on. Well, yeah, the last one before we get to next week, we got to talk about the battle of the young quarterbacks, which turned into the most exciting game of the week.
Well, at the end. Yeah, so I took the Bears. Man. I thought they would be able to take advantage of that Washington defense, man. They didn't start doing it to the second half, and I pretty much thought they had the game won once they were down. I think it was 12-7. I figured, they'll score another touchdown against that defense, and they did. They scored another touchdown, and then all of a sudden, Tyreek Stevenson wants to yap off his mouth, and all of a sudden, they get that Hail Mary, man, and I'm just like, wow. What you think, Brian, when you saw it?
So independent of the Hail Mary, I think we figured out who the better of the two quarterbacks was. Like Caleb looked awful in the first half. Now, the second half, he picked it up. He was making great passes. and he got most of that 131 yards, but he's also still got no touchdowns, no interceptions. It was mainly a non-factor in a low-scoring game. On the other side, Jaden Daniels was the X factor with 326 yards, and the only touchdown he scored was the Hail Mary. But there's just a stark difference in how they play, how the teams respond to them. You know, when things didn't go their way, Caleb didn't do anything but pout on the sidelines. Instead of like going, all right, team, you know, it's a loss. We can survive this. He looked like the child on the sidelines. And this is the kind of stuff that we were talking about in the preseason. Yeah. That he's a little bit sophomoric. He has a little bit of entitlement and that kind of thing. And that's what I was looking at because the Bears are going to be solid this year because he can have good games and they've got some talent on that team. But what I was how worried do I need to be about Caleb Williams being in the North? And I've come to the conclusion that he will probably be a good quarterback for a long period of time, but he's not going to be a great one.
No.
And the reason you could spot greatness and how people play and how they perform, even when Peyton Manning was going through the worst rookie season of anyone ever, right? There was something about his moments that you were like, he can still be pretty good down the line.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniel, on the other hand, when they had to go in there, most of the people on the Washington sideline had all but realized that they had lost that game. It was a Hail Mary for a reason. They call it for that. It's nothing more. But he sees the moment. And afterwards, they asked him, "Did you see something?" "Nope. I just went over there and threw the ball as far and as high as I could and gave my team a chance." And all of our prayers were answered. He was honest about it. He was forthright about it. There was no trick magic or anything else. He says sometimes you just got to throw it up and see what happens next. Yeah, that's right.
That's a response.
I can see longevity in leadership, longevity in skills he's already gotten, and he threw for 326 yards.
And ran for 50. Damn.
And
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's the reason why I never thought Caleb would be a great quarterback, man. It's not about just throwing the ball and stats. It's about your attitude. That's why Tom Brady, people don't understand, Tom Brady is beloved by teammates. People love that dude. He is one of the guys. People swear by this guy. Richard Seymour, the other guy, I forgot the other guy.
I never heard nobody talk bad.
Nobody talks bad about Brady.
Even after they left.
Yeah, and same with Peyton Manning, man. It's like he played Peyton Manning. They said Peyton Manning knew the janitors' names. He called all those people by the first name, the workers inside the, whatever, the team, whatever. He knew everybody, man. And it's like, that's how you have to be. You're the leader. You're the face of a franchise. You have to act like one. You're the CEO. You have to act like one. When you're over there pouting and acting like a kid, man, like a child, man, that's not a good look. And of course, the person that referees games, man, I see that with coaches all the time. I can't even talk to these dudes, man. It's just like, really? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, good observation, Brian. But yeah, it's real talk. And the better quarterback right now, I will have to agree, is Jaden Daniels right now at this moment. He is the better quarterback.
Any other quick hitters on the last week?
Not for me. Let's get to the other ones. I know we're running out of time.
Yeah, let's get to this week. So starting with Thursday night is Texans at Jets.
Yeah, Texans. Can someone explain to me how the Jets are favored by 2? A 6-2 Texans team. Is CJ Stroud get trapped in the ocean?
Because they're at home. That's the only reason.
No, it's a 6-2 team against a team that has been horrible the entire season. There's plenty of road teams who are favored over home teams. There is no good reason whatsoever for the Jets to be.
Man, they got Aaron Rodgers.
They gotta be trying. Aren't they trying to move the betting lines? Isn't that what y'all say when they do that?
I don't know. No. This is the catch when we try to make these picks on Monday. The last week just ended. We're 7 days away from this game. I'm sorry, 4 days away from this game. But give me the Texans, please, and yes.
Yeah, DeMarco. What's his name? Ryans, whatever. DeMeco Ryans. Yeah, he's used to playing against Aaron Rodgers.
Like he didn't coach for y'all, bro. Don't try that.
If I were in a survival league, I might use this game as my survival.
That's hella funny.
I don't like the Jets.
That's hella funny. Yeah, he's used to playing against Aaron Rodgers, man. So yeah, I'm taking Houston in this one.
Give me you got the Cowboys playing the Falcons, but the Cowboys are we'll see where they go. What about Broncos and at Ravens?
Well, you want to make a pick in that game? Falcons favored by 3.
Falcons by 3. I'll take the Falcons and give up the points.
Really? All right. Okay, I'll take the Cowboys. Go ahead.
Broncos at Ravens. That's 2 5-3 teams. As much as I hate to see the Broncos succeed.
Broncos at Ravens. Yeah. I'm taking the Ravens. I can't take Bo Nix.
Yeah, I'll take the Ravens. I think that they get right. It's a big spread at 9, but I think they can cover that.
Well, what about Las Vegas? Glenn, you guys are playing against the Bengals, 7.5. Bengals minus 7.5. Both teams are 4-4.
Yeah, I see it at 8, but
I don't bet against my team, but
this is what I just said. Though I'm not touching this game.
Yeah, I'm not.
I wouldn't bet
touch the Raiders side of it, and I damn sure ain't touching the Bengals side of it.
No, I wouldn't.
Flip a coin and tell me who's going to win.
I can rock with that.
Isn't Tua back? Isn't he back?
Tua is back.
Okay, so they play at Buffalo. Buffalo minus 6.5.
So what's Tua being back got to do with that?
I'm just asking.
I wasn't even.
That's going to be a wonderful 15 minutes in the first quarter for the first quarter while Tua's playing before the next.
I wasn't going to mention that game.
Yeah, all right. Give me Buffalo.
I'm not a Tua guy, so okay, all right.
I'm about to skip everything and go to Lions and Packers, but if you wanted other games in here,
we can go there. Lions and Packers. Let's do it. Lions and Packers. Lions minus 3.5 at Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay plus 3.5 easily.
I'm taking the Lions minus 3.5.
Okay, all right. That's a shot-worthy game right there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's division rivalry. It's a huge game, but the Lions, they got more fight than anyone.
Yep.
And it's locked in.
Oh, wait, hold on.
You can't change it. Oh, there it
goes.
No,
Jordan Love is not playing. He got hurt.
You can't change it.
Yeah, Jordan Love got hurt. Yeah, Malik Willis saying no chance.
He's going to play. Yeah, he's going to play this week, but he's not. You don't know what he's going to.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. We can't make this bet.
What you talking about, Willis?
Oh, man. I mean, Malik. Oh, man. Okay, I guess I'm locked in. I didn't even see it. I remember Jordan Love had like
that's what Brian was
Love
saying
is going
about
to
playing.
Play, but he said that he stopped playing this past week because he couldn't move like he wanted to.
No,
that's a bad sign against the Lions pass.
Exactly, and it's better than Anthony Richardson because he got tired. So okay, all right. Rams Seattle. You care about that one?
That's a big game for you.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
Rams.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams too.
I think the Rams have proven that they are absolutely a contender in that division with how they played against the Vikings.
That'd be crazy. The whole division will be tied up, right?
And then I think Seattle will be 4-5. Minnesota is playing at home against Indianapolis. What's the spread? 6. Well, you're playing against a guy who can't throw, so I'll take Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah, this is going to be we have 3 straight games that should be good to get right and hopefully put some meat on the record there. Hopefully, getting up to 7 or 8 in 2 or 3. But anyways, I think Brian Flores needs this week. He is going to tee off on Richardson because Richardson does not know what to do in those situations. I think the defense is going to score a touchdown. That's not something I would predict, but I just think that there's no way that they don't get Richardson in some bad situations.
You might see Flacco, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Flacco comes in, you might see Flacco, but
they're already talking about it
right now. Today I was reading about the Indianapolis Colts because I was very interested in this game. And they're already talking about how they've decided that they need to let Richardson ride it out. The season's done. Or 4-4. They're not winning a championship. The best situation is they sneak into they're not going to win. Does anyone think that Richardson's going to lead them to a championship?
But he's not. They can get to the playoff though.
I don't know about that either.
What's the value in that?
I don't know about that. But
they need to know if Richardson's a guy that they should keep long term, and the only way that they can do that is by playing him.
And I agree with that strategy.
And so I think they're going to let him ride. And so on and so forth. But Flacco would obviously be a much more difficult.
He'll be upgrade, yeah.
But I think the Vikings, if the Vikings cannot win this game, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
Yeah. What you read, Brian, I agree with, because when I saw them, they were letting him pass, even though he was having a horrible passing day. They're going to let him ride. I can definitely see that. And you have to let your quarterback play to see what you got because you might have to move on another year. So
that's exactly
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I got you.
Monday night Bucks at Chiefs.
Well, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, with Godwin hurt and Mike Evans. I'm taking the Chiefs. You guys Tampa Bay at home is one thing. but they're playing at Kansas City. Yeah, I'm good.
The only reason why this is a question here is, can the Chiefs actually win a game by 8.5? I don't know that they've done it. So
yeah, they don't cover spreads greater than 6-7 points on a regular basis. They don't.
Like I said, so the big question here is they actually beat New Orleans by 13, I think. But anyways, the big question here is whether or not they can win by more than 8.5. Yeah. I will still say yes.
Yeah, more than 7. Mahomes is not. The Chiefs haven't been good, period. But yeah, got you. Okay.
There it is. All right. So that's all of our topics for today. Last couple segments, man. Y'all got anything that's a bunch of hogwash?
Yeah, I got a hogwash, man. It came from the Florida State Miami game. So I think Brian said last week that he was confident Miami would win by more than 21 because this is the last nationally televised game for Miami, and they want to try to, keep their ranking in the top 5. So they're going to keep trying to score points. They're going to, pad stats or whatever, pad the score. So it was late in the game. Florida State turned the ball over. I believe it was probably inside the 20-yard line. Miami had the game well in hand. It was the fourth quarter, and Miami scored another touchdown. It was a meaningless touchdown, but they scored another touchdown and put them up, I think, 22 or whatever. And then the announcer said to the other announcer, you're okay with what Miami just did. And that's hogwash to me because, number one, it's not your job to stop yourself. It's the other team's job to stop you. Number two, if you understand how college football works, you need to have style points. You need to have style wins. People just look at scores. A lot of people don't even look at the games. They just look at the scores. They're not going to see that Miami already had this game well in hand. They want to see what the final score was, what the margin was, and sometimes what the spread was. So for that announcer to say, I forgot his damn name, but for him to say that, that's hogwash to me because I hate, even when I was younger, I hated when people got mad when you whooped the team hella bad. I mean, you stop them then. Do something about it. It's not my job to make myself look weak so you can feel strong or feel good about yourself. And this is college sports, man. So that's a bunch of hogwash. B, what's yours?
So it's obviously related to the Vikings game and that penalty, but it's more directed. It's more directed at the NFL than it is the horrible calls that wasn't made, even though there were 2 damn referees standing in perfect vision of it. It's not about that. It's about, we have this new system where they can do these quick assists for all types of plays, except for that one. It was so blatantly obvious what had happened there. And they'll call in and say, oh, there was a false start you missed, or, you should check it. That wasn't a completion, and do all these types of quick changes that they can just call down at any time, but they can't call down for that. What is the purpose of the new rule and the new setup, if not to get that right in that moment? The NFL needs to figure out why they have such an affinity for screwing things up, because it's 100% hogwash that blatant missed PIs and or non-PIs can't be corrected, face masks can't be corrected, but false starts and other things that may or may not have been impactful can be touched. There's no rhyme or reason to it. This is a problem with the NFL. The poor officiating clearly needs the training wheels, and so they've got to figure out a way to get that fixed.
Yeah, the Rams, they got it. We had a holding call in the end zone that they didn't call on us last year in that game when they came back and Baker Mayfield had his one game, first game of the week, and he came in and won. It was like a blatant hold on Max Crosby in the end zone. That would have iced it. And they were like, oh yeah, we didn't see nothing. So I already got that little Rams feeling about it anyway, but whatever. That's beside the point. Coop, your mic keeps muting. I don't know.
My bad. Yeah, it's almost like they pick and choose because I've seen blatant holding calls. Well, I remember they had Bosa like around the neck. Dude, he was behind him. And the referee's just standing there. It's like it's right in front of your face and you don't call. It's like, well, how do you pick and choose which ones to call?
The funny ones are the Chiefs. Talk about, like they said, if Patrick Mahomes that happened to, they'd arrest the dude on the field.
Oh my God. With the Chiefs, it's like really bad, man. This is like really, but
so
around the NFL.
Just because I'm a man on fire about this, right? It actually says that they can. The new assistance rule, I'm reading from NFL.com, operations.nfl.com. The new assistance rule applies to plays where there is clear and obvious video evidence to proactively address specific objective rulings, such as a spot of the foul or a foul, a spot of the ball or a foul, complete or incomplete pass, or touching the ball or line. Examples of penalty enforcement. Guess what? Confirmation of a proper down, spot of a foul, game clock administration, possession of a loose ball, complete or incomplete pass, loose ball touching a boundary line, goal line, or in line, location of the football, player down by contact, roughing the passer, late hits or out of bounds, intentional grounding. At last check, ripping a guy's head off is considered roughing the passer, right? You can't make contact with their head, let alone rip it off. So both penalty enforcement and roughing the passer, that should have been something that the replay rule was allowed to address. They need to figure it out. They need to use it. It's a bunch of crap otherwise. And it was a nationally televised game, so you can't say there were 10 games going on at once. There's not enough people to do it. It's a Thursday night, nationally televised game. Everyone's watching it. It should have been. It should have been adjudicated.
That's it. I don't have any minute to win it. I just
Nah, me either.
am thankful. Go out and make sure y'all people vote.
I think the next time we all talk is next week on voter. I mean, assuming we do it on Tuesday, it's on the election day. Maybe we might have to move that one way or the other. But either way,
Up to y'all.
Folks. The amount of people don't get to see the lawsuits that are taking place for the other side right now. But everyone who's in all these videos and commercials, they're all suing Trump because all of it is so much lies and so many lies right now. Please believe whatever you want to believe. Do at least a little bit of research. Because if Charlemagne the God, who I do not particularly care for, is over there talking about how his image is being misused.
It was obvious. It was obvious.
You know, it's worth looking into.
They doing what Coop said he's doing. I read the article. I didn't read the article. I read the headline though, and it said, "Thanks for at least admitting it, bro. Please don't do that with your when people's lives are in actual stake." So appreciate you guys, man. Be Coop, always a pleasure, and I'll see y'all next week.
Soon.
Yep.